Strangest last meal request on death row.
In some states in America and other countries with
My
legal
last meal would probably be a Burger King double cheeseburger.
capital punishment, there exists an interesting custom for criminals on death row. The infamous last meal. Convicted felons are granted the opportunity to select any food and drink of their choice within certain regulations on the eve of their execution. Here are some of the strangest meals ever recorded.
How strange can a meal really be? Like, it's your
Number
last
20,
one. Like,
Victor Harry Fagger. In 1963,
I thought he called me a name. Oh my God. His name is what?
Number 20, Victor Harry Fagger.
Oh my goodness. Okay, today's stream we've been there's just been some things happening today, man. Golly.
1963, 28-year-old Victor Harry Fagger was sentenced
We heard the name the first time. You did not have to say it again.
to death by hanging for convicted kidnap murder. For his final meal, the young man had only one request: a single olive with the pit left in. After his execution, the olive pit was found inside Fagger's suit pocket.
Say his name's Henry. His name is Henry. Golly, man.
Contributing to the popular belief that he intended to be buried alongside it so that the olive tree symbolizing peace would sprout from his grave.
Oh, that's so
For
cute.
a dangerous criminal, it's almost a touching sentiment. Number 19, Gerald Lee Mitchell. Gerald Lee Mitchell's final meal was even sweeter than Fagger's, but in an
Henry's.
entirely different sense. As he awaited his final moments on death row, Mitchell had only one thing on his mind when it came to his final meal: an assorted bag of Jolly Ranchers
Nice.
candy. After finishing the entire bag before
Nice.
facing the final curtain, it's safe to say this criminal intended to go out on a real sugar high.
He went out on
Number
diarrhea
18,
too, and
Lawrence Russell
cavities.
Brewer. While some
Brr.
have a clear idea of the last thing they'll ever eat, others are totally spoiled for choice. Taking full advantage of this unusual opportunity, convicted killer and white supremacist Lawrence Russell Brewer decided to
course.
indulge in an enormous feast in 2011.
What'd he do?
requested 2 fried chicken steaks with gravy and onion, a triple bacon cheeseburger, a cheese omelet with ground beef, tomatoes, onions, bell peppers, and
yeah?
jalapenos,
Keep talking
3
to me.
fajitas, a meat feast pizza, a bowl of fried okra, a pound of barbecued meat with half a loaf of
It
white
won't
bread,
stop.
peanut butter fudge with crushed peanuts,
And
and
you just ruined my whole day. You ordered peanut butter fudge with crushed peanuts. I know you were racist. I forgot. You were a white supremacist. As a racist, that is something a racist would order. Because what are you talking about? It's already peanut butter. Why do you need peanuts in it?
a pint of Bluebell ice cream, all washed down with 3 root beers. And a final screw you to the
Oh, peanut butter, cubed peanut butters with root beers. Oh, that's so racist. Oh, that screams racism.
justice system, though. Brewer refused to eat a morsel when the order arrived, claiming that he wasn't hungry. Texas Senator John Whitmire was so furious that he decided to ban the last meal request in the state, so future death row prisoners have Lawrence Russell Brewer to blame for regular prison slop. Number 17. John Wayne Gacy. Another felon who capitalized on his last meal request was the notorious serial killer John Wayne Gacy,
okay.
otherwise known as the Killer Clown Pogo. For his final supper, Gacy ordered 12 fried shrimp, a bucket of original recipe KFC, french fries, and a pound of strawberries. Prior to his
Pound of strawberries? Yeah, alright. Sure. No, I'm just playing.
conviction, Gacy had managed 3 KFC restaurants in his home city of Waterloo, and he clearly never got tired of that finger-licking goodness. Number 16. John Spalink. For some, food isn't the priority
Spalink.
at all when it comes down to making a last order. Previously known as a heavy drinker, Spalink denied any special food to be prepared, but asked for a single flask of Jack Daniels instead.
Hey, that's
which
how
he
an
shared with the
alcoholic would
prison
go.
superintendent.
That's something a character in the anime would do. It's kind of like Shikamaru's dad. Well, I don't remember his name, but how his last thing was like a smoke. He just had a cigarette for his last on his death tree or whatever he was on. Yeah, that's kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie.
After his death, the state of Florida's last meal provisions was revised to exclude alcohol
Assume,
altogether.
yeah, that one.
But to be honest, going out while drunk doesn't seem like such a bad idea. Number 15. Eileen Wuornos. Eileen Wuornos also requested a beverage before taking her last breath in 2002, but of a different kind. A single cup of black coffee was all she wanted. It may seem like this request
I wasn't
was her
talking
way
about
of
his
saying,
dad. I was talking about Asuma, whatever. Who? Man, I don't care. I don't watch Naruto, bro.
"Don't even think about killing me." It was all she wanted. It may do, but of a different kind. A single beverage before taking her last breath in 2002.
Okay.
But of a different kind. A single cup of black coffee was all she wanted. It may seem like this request was her way.
Interesting. The artist had beautiful amounts of details in this still photo, in this still picture.
Of saying, "Don't even think about killing me before I've had my morning coffee." But Wuornos actually had far
Whatever she did, we know for a fact she did it. Yep. I honestly have no second guesses on it. She's committed every crime. You can't convince me otherwise.
crazier motivations. In fact, she didn't believe she was going anywhere for long, as her notorious last words were, "I'd just like to say I'm sailing with the Rock, and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus June 6th.
She thought she was Jesus? She did it. I'm telling you, every single crime she did.
Safe to say, she still hasn't turned up yet. Number 14. Ricky Ray Rector. Ricky Ray Rector seemed to have similar motivations when it came to his last meal. Rector had ordered a tasty-sounding meal consisting of steak, fried chicken, and cherry Kool-Aid, followed by a slice.
At least it wasn't grape. At least it wasn't grape. At least it wasn't grape. At least it wasn't grape.
Of pecan pie, but he left his dessert untouched. When asked why he changed his mind on the sweet treat, Rector simply said he was saving it for later. Whether this was intended as an ironic joke or a sinister hint that his return in the afterlife was imminent is entirely up to you. Number 13. Timothy McVeigh. What this senseless killer ordered as his last hurrah might surprise you, given the seriousness of his crimes. All McVeigh wanted to eat before his execution.
What did he do? Don't say the seriousness of his crimes and don't explain nothing. What did he do? Timothy McVeigh, domestic terrorist who perpetrated the Oklahoma bombing April 19th, 1995. The bombing killed 168 people. Would it really be that hard to say that? I'm not a serial killer encyclopedia, bro. I need you to explain what they did.
2000.
Happy birthday, Isabella.
One was 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream. Though it's unclear whether one.
Oh, yep, he's a serial killer, all right. Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you say that we did world justice with that one. 2 mint chocolate. Oh, God.
Remained chilled as he guzzled down the first, or simply melted into a puddle beside it. To be honest, for a man responsible for 168 innocent deaths, even melted ice cream seems far too generous. Number 12. David Leon Woods. Convicted murderer David Leon Woods spent a whopping 22 years on death row before he was put to death on May 4th, 2007 in Michigan, Indiana. When the daunting moment finally came, Woods had a fairly simple request for his last meal. He chose a standard pizza and an entire birthday cake, both of which he shared with his family.
That's depressing. Oh my God.
Turns out, his birthday was actually 3 months after his execution, but hey, beggars can't be.
That's depressing as hell.
Choosers. Number 11.
WS.
Thomas J. Grasso. Thomas J. Grasso was not the brightest of the bunch, and when Judgment Day came in 1995, his final meal request reflected his questionable life choices. He ordered a plethora of extravagant foods like 2 dozen steamed clams, half a dozen barbecued ribs, a Burger King double cheeseburger.
I said it! You gotta throw in the Burger King double cheese. Hey, I'm just putting y'all on, man.
And 2 strawberry milkshakes alongside a can of SpaghettiOs to be served at room temperature. When Grasso's meal arrived, he was served spaghetti and meatballs instead, a mistake he'd never forgive, as his final words were, "I did not get my SpaghettiOs. I got spaghetti. I want the press to know this." Number 10. Stephen Wayne Anderson. Grasso isn't the only one to throw a seemingly random ingredient into the mix when concocting the perfect final meal. Stephen Wayne Anderson was a pretty deadly criminal, but his food choices were in. Grasso isn't the only one to throw a seemingly random ingredient into the mix when concocting the perfect final meal. Stephen Wayne Anderson was a
Okay, so Stephen Wayne Anderson robbed grandmas. That's what I'm getting from this. But let's get a deep dive in what Stephen who Anderson? Stephen Anderson. Stephen Wayne Anderson was an American contract killer, serial killer. Okay, so he was like a hitman because it said contract killer. The man was a real life hitman. Interesting.
a pretty deadly criminal, but his food choices were interesting to say the least. Before his execution in California in 2002, the 48-year-old requested 2 grilled cheese sandwiches, a pint of cottage cheese, a hominy corn mixture, peach pie and chocolate chip ice cream, and, well, a big helping of radishes on.
This is disgusting. This is horrid. Yuck. That's the only word to describe this.
On the side. Number 9. Peter J. Minial.
Oh, not Peter
Convicted killer Peter J. Minial could give Lawrence Russell Brewer a run for his money for one of the biggest orders ever served on death row in 2004.
Okay.
Minial confessed to his crimes and was vocal about being ready to pay the price, but not before he gorged himself on this whopping order. He requested 20 beef tacos, 20 beef enchiladas, 2 double cheeseburgers, a pizza with jalapenos, fried chicken, spaghetti with salt, and a modest dessert of half a chocolate cake, half a vanilla cake, cookies and cream ice cream, caramel pecan fudge ice cream, and a small fruit cake.
Your stomach was not holding in none of that. And you know what? I think the reason why the killers do this is because they know after they die, they're going to give their last poop. They want their last poop to be the smelliest, thickest, chunkiest, runniest thing that these officers and these paramedics have ever seen. I honestly think that's the only reason why they do this. Because there's no other explanation.
To wash it all down, he also had 2 lots of Coke, Pepsi, root beer, and orange juice. Maybe he intended to explode Henry VIII style before facing the music. Number 8.
How
Velma
much did he
Barfield.
eat, though?
This sweet, God-fearing
Velma?
grandmother became known as the Death Row Granny. Velma Barfield was the first woman put to death in the U.S. in 22 years when she was executed by lethal injection in 1982. But not before she was granted one final meal.
What
A
did
cup
she
of
do?
tea, a slice of coffee cake, or a fruit scone might be what you'd expect. But all Barfield really wanted was a packet of cheese doodles and a can of Coke.
That's a crazy woman. That's a crazy woman. Out of every chips in the world, she said cheese doodles. That's a crazy woman. Yep, she definitely did what she did. 100%. There was no false accusation. She did what she did.
But for a devout Christian old lady who also
A devout who?
wanted was a packet of
A
cheese
devout
doodles
who?
and a can of Coke. But for a devout Christian old lady who also killed 6 people, what can you really expect?
What?
Number 7. Robert Alton Harris. When you're ordering your final meal on death row, it's important to cover all bases. And why
Okay.
agonize over which takeaway to get when you can combine the lot? This is exactly what murderer Robert Alton Harris did in 1992 when he requested a 21-piece bucket of KFC and 2 large Domino's pizzas alongside a 6-pack of Pepsi with ice cream and a bag of jelly beans for dessert.
Jelly beans are disgusting. I don't know why they were ever a thing. I don't know who enjoys them. You are sick if you do. Domino's pizza. Was there no Papa John's or Pizza Hut? There was no Little Caesars. Chuck E. Cheese's pizza. You chose Domino's.
And a packet of Camel cigarettes for good measure. Harris is most remembered for his final words, though.
Did he say a pound of cigarettes?
And a packet of Camel
Oh, I thought he said a pound.
cigarettes for good measure. Harris is most remembered for his final words, though, which were, "You can be a king or a street sweeper, but everybody dances with the Grim Reaper." Kind of prophetic for a seasoned criminal, don't you think? Number 6.
That was a bar.
Ronnie Lee Gardner. Plenty of death row criminals have used their final meal as an opportunity to make smart choices, and Ronnie Lee Gardner was certainly determined to make his sitting last as long as possible. He didn't go too overboard on his order of steak, lobster tail, apple pie with vanilla ice cream, and a 7-Up, but he also had another request: to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy while eating. Surprisingly, Gardner was permitted to do so, and with a combined runtime of more than 11 hours, this must have been the longest last meal ever.
What the world?
Number 5. Philip Workman.
Hey, that's a way to
Gluttony
go.
was the last thing on Phillips's mind when he requested his final meal. His final request was for a large vegetarian pizza to be given to a random homeless person, but prison officials refused to do so, and he ate nothing.
Oh. Oh. Oh, that's not it. That's oh. Okay. Well then.
In a surprising turnout, on the day of his death on May 9th, homeless shelters in Tennessee received large amounts of vegetarian pizzas from people all over the country. So at least he
So
didn't.
the prisons wouldn't do it, but the people will. Man. Oh yes, we'll give a final meal to this criminal, but if the criminal wants to give a homeless person a pizza, oh God, oh we can't do that. That's too far. How? It would be impossible to find a homeless man in America. Don't exist.
One good deed before his death. Number 4. Angel Neves Diaz. Philip Workman may have gone hungry because of his strangely selfless request, but Angel Neves Diaz deliberately turned down his last meal. As he didn't order anything special, Diaz was served the regular Wednesday prison menu of shredded turkey with taco seasoning, cheese, rice, pinto beans, tortilla shells, apple crisp, and ice cream. As surprisingly nice as that sounds, Diaz refused to eat that too, and in his final words he condemned the death penalty as a form of vengeance, but also a cowardly act by humans.
Okay, hold this injection, buddy. Like, okay, whatever you say, buddy. Get the what?
Number 3. Oba Chandler. For his last meal, he ordered 2 salami sandwiches on white bread with mustard.
Salami sandwiches. Salami sandwiches. Salami sandwiches. Salami sandwiches.
Mustard and peanut butter, and a grape jelly sandwich on white
Peanut
bread
butter?
with iced tea and a coffee. And with all that bread, it's safe to say, another one bites the crust. Ba-dum-ts. Short link on screen and in the description if you feel the need to expose the world to more crummy puns. Number 2. Robert Dale Conklin. Conklin clearly had expensive taste as he requested filet mignon wrapped in bacon, deveined shrimp sauteed in garlic butter with lemon, baked potato with sour cream, chives, and real bacon bits, corn on the cob, asparagus with hollandaise sauce, French bread with butter, goat cheese, cantaloupe, vanilla bean ice cream, and iced tea.
He had the best meal. I'm honestly, I don't even think it's close. Right? I'm not a big ice creamer. I'm not a big cheeser. Right? I'm not eating straight cheese. But corn, asparagus, you got the shrimp, filet mignon, you got the and it ended off with a tea.
Number 1. James Edward Smith. This convicted felon had one of the most bizarre last meal requests ever recorded.
What could it
when
have
it came
been?
down to his final meal request in 1990, all he wanted was a lump of soil. Although
That's what you're doing, bro. That must be delicioso.
Though some have speculated that he did indeed intend to chow down on the dirt, others have suggested he planned to perform a voodoo ritual as the soil was specified to be the Rayconda type, associated with witchcraft. As dirt was not on the list of foods permitted by prison regulation, Smith's request was denied and he was served a cup of yogurt instead. Which of course is the only reasonable alternative. So, what would you order if you were in their position?
I would have oiled soil. Yeah, because ain't nothing like a cup of yogurt. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing like a cup of yogurt. Thank you, Be Amazed.